me invite the Eatonville School District forward. That would be Ronda Litzenberger, the school board president, Michael Farmer, who's the executive director of innovation and learning, as well as John Paul Colgan, who is the principal at Eatonville High School. Welcome, and we're very interested in learning from you, your experiences in implementing 24 credits.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Good afternoon. We really do appreciate this opportunity to address the committee and share our experiences with Core 24 so far. So just a real quick background on Eatonville School District. We're a small district. We're only 1,850 students roughly, so we're actually smaller than Battleground High School, who you just heard from, as a whole district. We have 2 K-5 elementary schools. We have a K-8 A-STEM Academy that's all but in Mount Rainier National Park. We've got a 6-8 middle school, and then all 4 of those schools feed into our comprehensive high school, which is Eatonville High School, which Mr. Colgan's the principal of. And that school has our proudest figure, which is our 96.5% graduation rate. We have a free and reduced lunch rate in the district of 40%, and 15.6%, of our students make up our minorities. And we are actually struggling with the requirements of Core 24. We did apply for the waiver, so our current freshmen are the first students that are under Core 24. And then Mr. Colgan's going to share with you some specifics about that.
Okay, thank you. Greetings. I appreciate your time and position, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak with you today. This is my 4th year as principal at Eatonville High School, and Eatonville is a special place to be principal because we get to know the students very well. And there's a high level of trust on campus and in the classroom. Core 24 would have a negative impact on our students, teachers, and the effective learning environments that have been created to facilitate student learning success. Here's why. Eatonville Cruisers currently have a graduation rate of 96.5, one of the highest in the region. Of the 160 seniors in the class of 2017, 157 earned their diploma. 65% of the graduates acquired 24 credits. In short, if Core 24 had been a reality of Eatonville last June, our graduation rate would have been 65%. Core 24 impacts our art program immensely. We have 1 art teacher. With Core 24, we would cut the electives, drawing, painting, glass, and ceramics, and our 1 art teacher would teach 5 classes of Intro to Art only. This would increase the total number of students taking art classes, but we'd have to eliminate all art electives and focus only on the Introduction to Art. Core 24 also requires us to hire another art teacher if we're lucky enough to have funding for another art teacher and could attract said teacher. If academic priorities are between art and math, mathematics needs prevail. In Eatonville, we face recruitment and retention issues every year, and while we want to provide a comprehensive experience comparable to less rural schools, we do not have employees who have loved ones working at Amazon or who are willing to commute long distances. We would love to have all you legislators support us in addressing our Core 24 issues in world languages. We have been challenged with our recruitment and retention issues in world languages for the past 4 years. We've experienced a 1-year turnover for Spanish 3 times and a 1-year turnover with a Russian teacher. Now we are paying Brigham Young University for our Russian students to take Russian 2 online because the teacher is no longer in Eatonville. Additionally, Core 24 would limit the opportunity to have more students enroll in Spanish 3 and 4 because more students are needed for students to complete Spanish 1 and 2. Spanish teachers know this and choose to teach at other schools where they can teach upper-level world languages courses, not just the basics. Core 24 represents a hardship on our current master schedule. As a small rural school, we offer 9 advanced placement courses, 23 career and tech courses, 6 different English courses, 7 social studies courses, 8 different math courses, and 9 various science courses. These constraints, these rigorous courses offerings cause our master schedule to have too many constraints because we have singletons, a class that only can be taught at one time in the day. Core 24 requires a shift in resources that eliminates well-attended established courses and causes us to compromise rigorous learning opportunities for students. Core 24 impacts credit recovery as well. We worry about upperclassmen needing a remedial class or having a schedule that allows students to attain competency or recover portions of a class. We have tried to create a 7th period after school for students to make up coursework. Nobody attended. Students who aren't successful in a 6-period day are most likely not going to be successful by adding another class to manage. We are a rural district serving 450 square miles in distance, so students leave campus at the end of the day unless they're playing sports. In a number of metropolitan areas, travel time to school is measured in city blocks. Whatever changes are made to educational expectations, funding needs to support these decisions. Thank you.
Thank you. Please go ahead.
My name is Ronda Litzenberger, and I'm the school board president, as well as a parent of 5 children that have attended Eatonville schools. And a small rural school really has issues with funding. It comes right down to the teacher issue. Recruitment is always an issue. We have 6 periods now. If we were to go to the common solution that we're seeing in bigger schools, the block 4 one day and 4 the other, we would have to hire an additional staffing, and we don't have the funding, nor do we have the ability to hire the highly qualified teachers that we need. If we were to go to 8 periods in one day, that would give each student about 35 minutes in each course. The kids who aren't successful really aren't going to be successful with that. I'd like to speak as a parent now, not as a school board member. As a parent of highly capable children, if you implement Core 24 with full integrity in our district, my highly capable kids who have 3 kids in calculus would no longer have a room in the master schedule for that class. That leaves me as a parent trying to scramble to find another way. Running Start is an option. However, we are very rural, and it's 40 miles to the closest campus. And for most students, that alone, just trying to transport themselves, keeps them from having that opportunity. So my biggest concern is the rigor in the classroom for highly capable, as well as the remediation for the students who need support. We are doing some very creative things, and we have a farm school, and we're really in 8th grade, we're offering courses that might help supplement some of those credits. And we are expecting every child to achieve at a very high level. We're not lowering our standards in any way. But funding, when it comes down to it, is really where our issue is. If you want us to really implement this with integrity, we quite frankly need more money. We can't compete with districts that are closer in and that can pay more to their teachers. We can't. We just don't have the population, the tax base in our area.
Thank you. Did you want to say anything?
No, just if there's any questions, we'd be happy to answer them if there's time, obviously.
Yes, I think we do have a couple of questions. I guess I'm going to start by addressing the school board president. You did say, that if we have an expectation, and by the way, it was the school state board of education, not the legislature, that imposed this 24 credit. But if to carry on with your thought, if we have an expectation that you meet the 24 credit graduation requirement, that more funding is necessary, what would you say if we said, we're doing our best to meet the McCleary funding challenge. Adding money for 24 credits might be a little bit challenging for us right now. What would you say that we would do to help in this situation? Because the stories that you're sharing are stories that I think we all hear. And I might also note that you actually have members of the state board in the audience right now. So if you were going to say something, what would it be about this 24 credit graduation requirement?
As far as so let me clarify that I heard your question correctly. You are struggling right now to fund McCleary, and how are you going to get additional funds?
So the question is, what would you say if I say no more money's coming for this particular purpose? What else can we do?
That is a really great question. Do you have an answer, Michael?
So I do. So thank you, by the way. That's the conversation and the decision process we're in right now, and we're having weekly. Just 2 quick examples. We were approached by someone who works at the airport in Eatonville. Eatonville actually has an airport. And there's a flight school there, and we're trying to figure out a way to have students go there maybe after school or go there before school, and they could learn some around airplane repair and those sorts of things. But there's a lot of there's just some hoops to jump through in terms of CTE and meeting frameworks, and whether that person is qualified and whether we can pay them or not pay them, and then will our insurance let kids be around airplanes and things that explode and that sort of stuff. And then Northwest Trek is in our school district too. It's about 7-8 minutes outside of town. And we've done the same thing with them. But again, we're just trying to find out ways where we can get students other opportunities to earn credit outside of the school day. Because in answer to your question, that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to find other ways. And Mr. Colgan has instituted our advisory that meets, is it twice a week, 3 times a week? 4 times a week. Students actually get a quarter of a credit for that now. So they're picking up an extra credit over the course of 4 years right there. So we're looking for things like that, but there's still just a lot of hurdles.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, may I make a comment about the recruitment issue? Really, if we could recruit people for our math and our foreign languages and those kind of things, I think one of the things that would help rural schools is if you did a rural reimbursement, much like they do for the medical field. Doctors that come out and serve in rural areas get a reimbursement of their of their student debt. We're seeing young teachers come into Eatonville High School with $100,000 in student debt, and we are one of the lowest paying districts. It is almost impossible for teachers to invest that kind of money. So that would be one way you could help us attract good quality teachers and keep them long enough that we could actually build a schedule that would accommodate 24 credits.
Thank you. Representative Stonier.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you so much for traveling to talk with us today. Ironically, you know, the effort that we see going on right now to build this career-connected learning effort comes from the same business background or backers that also very much proposed the 24 credit and fought for that framework. And so I find that they are in contradiction. And so my question for you is, I have a bill that Representative Harris loves that is a 21 credit framework in statute. And it's stuck in appropriations. This will be the second time that it's stuck there, and the 3rd or 4th time that I've tried to address this issue. But the opponents say that we are continuously lowering standards by wanting to no longer require the passage of the test for graduation, not to not take it, but just require it, and by lowering the number of credits that we have required without extending the school day or extending the school year to allow for that time. So what is your response to that opposition that we're lowering the standards and expectations for kids?
Could I answer that? I'd like to answer that. Thank you. I would say that I see how people can believe that. Currently, right now, our semester is almost over at February 1st, and our 9th grade failure rate right now is at 33%. It won't be that at February 1st, but there's a lot going on. Last year, out of the 550 kids we had in the building, 147 of them were credit deficient. You know, so you're dealing with issues where you can't just handle it their senior year. You go right when they're freshmen, and you catch them. And I think the other part is when you look at other schools that are going to, you know, trimesters. You know, our principal PLC in the South Puget Sound area got together and they said, well, you can still fail 12 classes and still graduate, but you have 24 credits. You know, so I understand what you're saying, and I see that I don't think it's just dumbing down. I just see a lot of kids working hard in our school. I mean, to get a 96% graduate, 96.5 graduate, that we know our kids and we work with them with their transcript. It's like we know them by credit evaluation, you know, so we work with them one-on-one. So I think it's a big issue, and it goes all the way down to the 9th grade, you know.
And I can state unequivocally on our board, and I'm sure many, academic excellence is really primary in our focus, and innovation as well.
I'd like to also add, just to reference a statistic from Mr. Colgan too, 2/3 of our students almost got 24 credits with no 24 credit requirement. So most students are meeting this requirement just on their own because either they want to go to college or they just pass their classes. But it would be nice to have that flexibility for the students you heard struggle. And when you heard Battleground talk about all those supports they have in place, we do have students like that in Eatonville too. And a little bit of flexibility is really important for some students. And I would just kind of, you know, in response to that to challenge the people that don't support your 21 credit bill, is that just look around as you walk around or you walk to get lunch. You know, not everybody goes off to college and is a professor or works in a lab or is a doctor. You know, we need people to do all sorts of jobs in all walks of life, and some of those are fine if you get 21 credits. So I think when we think what students are really being prepared for in high school and what they go on to after high school should really be where that conversation starts, and that should drive whether it's 21 or 24.
Thank you. Representative Harris.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and I guess good principal. I guess my question is, of the 95% that are graduating, do you know where most of them go? How many go to college? How many go into another field of some sort that might require additional education?
You know, we do track that. It's not as specific as we do, but you know what? Who's doing it? The ladies in the office, because we're a small town. They want to know where everybody's going. So technically, it's about 30% go off to 4-year and on scholarship and things like that. They're just doing great. Another 30% go to 2-year college or military, and then another 30%, 35% stay and will get a logging job or stay in town and do that. So it's widespread. What we did know that through the data through OSBI was that in 2014, of the 30% that did go to college, 31%, and that wasn't too high for the state, did have to take a remedial class at some point.
And also, might I add that a majority of our college students are first-generation college students.
Thank you very much, Eatonville School District. Accept our thanks for all of the work that you're doing. Principal Colgan, congratulations for your great work. Yeah, those are some astonishing statistics. And just know that we, as your representatives, want to continue to work in such a way that we support what's going on in your communities and not throw up barriers and roadblocks. So thank you very much for coming and testifying.
Thank you.